dude?
It's all business, brother.
You're all business? What, are you locked in right now?
All business today, brother.
Yes, sir. All business.
I got some beef to handle.
I respect
tonight.
it. I respect it.
What's going on, y'all? It's another day on the Day One podcast. I'm your co-host, Anthony. Got my co-host, Kyle. Say what's up.
What's happening?
Hey, we got a show for you guys. We're gonna talk about numerous things. Before we do that, like, comment, subscribe to the pod. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit the bell so you get post notifications. Be on the Noti gang.
Yes, sir.
So you don't miss a beat.
Facts.
You don't want to miss a thing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you. We coming correct. Football training camp is 2 weeks away. Summer league is going down. We're not quite to baseball playoffs, but we're getting there. NASCAR playoffs, we're getting there. Any sport you can think of, the glizzy eating goat Joey Chestnut.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Indeed.
The nitty gritty.
Hey, we got quite the show for you guys today. We're going to talk a little bit about NBA Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the guys, Victor Wembanyama, Scoot, Brandon Miller, some other guys that stood out. We're also going to talk about the NBA in-season tournament that finally got announced. We're going to give our thoughts on that. Then we're also going to talk some football. You know, like I said, we're getting down to it. We're going to give our expectations for our teams. And then we're going to do kind of our rendition of some hot takes at the end. So,
we're just gonna be rambling.
We're gonna be talking some nonsense.
Facts.
Nonsensical material.
Respectfully. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's
get right into
it.
Bro.
Do this.
Let's talk about the Summer League. This is one of the years that I've had the most fun actually watching Summer League. I haven't obviously tuned into everything because this shit doesn't matter at all. But it's cool to see a lot of the guys. My favorite part about it, seeing guys from previous draft classes, like elevating their game, seeing where they were Summer League last year to now, and how they've molded their game to fit the NBA. And mostly those guys are the ones who dominate in Summer League. But dude, Victor Wembanyama's a dog.
Hey,
he's a dog.
He had that first game where he came out, was it like 7 points? He played like dog shit. He came out and said, I don't know what the hell I was out there doing.
Mm-hmm.
Comes back the next game, puts up 27 rebounds very nicely, and calls it quits. He's got to manage the load. Pause.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
Hey, he's following the footsteps of one of those San Antonio Spurs superstars.
Facts, he absolutely is. So, game 1, he went out for 9 points, 8 rebounds on 2 for 13 shooting. Absolutely horrendous. Followed it up with 27 points, 12 rebounds, 7 of 11 shooting. That's great. I'm kind of happy that he struggled off the rip and then bounced back, because we haven't seen a guy like this with this hype go through adversity quite yet. You know what I mean? He was the best in EuroLeague. He was the best in the G League. He never really struggled. Like, when's the last time we said, oh, Victor had a bad game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't. I think it's awesome that he came into the new environment, new country, first rep of the NBA. He started to struggle and then immediately said, all right, I'm settled in. Let me go out and do what I do. 27 and 12.
Yeah.
You love to see that shit.
Yeah. It's a true testament as to the professional that he is, adapting very quickly to a new environment, and flourishing for somewhat. Obviously it's Summer League. Yeah. It's not really like, all right, here's the actual league, when we get going here in late October, early November. Yeah. But it's good to see that, he's gone through a little bit of adversity in the summer league and responded well. He rebounded, and then he's just like, "Hey, 2 games is enough for me. I'm chilling, bro."
Yep. Yep. And that's cool. I'm not real concerned about him playing a lot of summer league games. I mean, how many players have we seen in the past only play 1, 2, 3 games at most and then call it? You know what I mean? And I think part of it is also like the summer league is super scrappy. You got a whole bunch of guys trying to make a living in summer league. You know what I mean? Like there's guys whose lives are going to get changed from this. It's a lot like NFL training camp.
Yeah.
So I think it's best, like if you've got a guy like Victor, like let's keep him out of the kids' playpen. You know what I mean? Everybody diving for loose balls, everyone trying a little bit harder, and I think it could lead to disaster, and I don't think it's good for him. But it was good to see him twice, and when he played Brandon Miller and absolutely dominated him. But it's good to see. So I got a question for you. What do you expect him to average
this season? I mean, definitely under 20 points a game.
Okay.
I think somewhere around 16 or 17 points a game. 6, 7 rebounds, maybe. Maybe like a block a game, maybe like 0.8 blocks a game. As far as field goal percentage,
Probably
I don't know.
50
I don't think he's gonna like struggle that he's like absolutely terrible. He'd probably be about average.
Yeah.
3-pointer, probably somewhere between 25 and 30%. I'd have to say.
But let me tell you what I expect, and I've watched both these games. I've watched them back now. I think looking at it, he already has the defensive feel for the NBA. He's already got it. I think that's going to translate immediately. So I think he's going to get 2 blocks a game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's outrageous to say because a guy like Walker Kessler last year as a rookie with the Jazz averaged like almost 3. So I don't really see that not being unrealistic. I also see him averaging over 10 rebounds just because I think he's going to get the minutes, and he's just bigger than everybody else. You know what I mean? He's going to get 3 or 4 rebounds a game that aren't expected to be his, but he's just palming them at the 10-foot mark, and no one can really do anything about it. The points, I think we're in the same boat. I think he's extremely raw on offense. And it kind of makes me nervous because I feel like if this guy doesn't come out and average 25, 13, and 4 blocks, he's going to be like, oh my God, why were our expectations so high? We go through this every year with every sport. We compare a guy to an all-time great, and then when he doesn't do that in year 1, it's like, oh, this guy's never going to be anything.
I just bail on him. But he's a rookie. You got to give him time to develop.
Yep. Even LeBron needed time to develop. He's the only one that's really come in the league and dominated game 1.
Yeah.
But even he was super raw.
Right. Like Kobe, super raw coming in. Took him a couple years to really start dominating the league. And MJ to an extent.
He was scoring, but he wasn't anywhere near the defensive player.
Yeah. It takes time to, get used to the game. They say by the 3rd year, you'll know, like, if you're him or not. You know what I mean? Like, like you're pretty much, you got a feel for the game. Things should be slowing down. You should be kind of getting more confident. You're kind of growing into your like man body pause. And just, it's true though. You start growing into a man. You get like that pro strength and pro body going. But I mean, that's the thing about like art, like sports nowadays. It's always like you got to produce day 1, and you don't give these guys a chance to like learn and develop and like go into football with. I mean, Jalen Hurts, for example. A majority of the Eagles fan base before last season was like, dude, get this guy out of here. We just got smoked by Tampa Bay. He can't read defenses. Like, trade him for Russell Wilson. You got to let these guys develop. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Yep.
and you see, you let a guy like him develop his third season, second year starting, technically his second year, but still third season in the league, and he lights the whole league on fire.
Facts. Yep. I think it's a little different between the NFL and the NBA, whereas I think in the NBA it takes a lot longer because I think the college game and the Europe game and the G League even are so much different than the NBA compared to like the NFL compared to college. Obviously, they're very different.
Yeah, it's very different.
But I think games translate more outside of quarterback from college to NFL. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whereas the European game and G League and the pro college, it is all vastly different.
It's so different. Pace is completely different.
Yeah, that's the pace is the biggest one.
Yeah, pace is and the slowest guy on your team in the NBA is running circles around your college team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The gap is just so high.
Right.
Like you don't get guys like, I mean, not to bring up the Jets, but you don't get guys like Sauce come into the league and week one dominate at this position. You don't get that in the NBA.
It's an anomaly for a guy to be a rookie and like Sauce be a first team all pro player in the rookie year.
Yep.
Like that is so rare, bro.
It is extremely
It just
rare.
doesn't happen.
Yeah. So making expectations for this guy, like he needs to come out and average 24 and 12 and 4 blocks a game is just ridiculous. But I do think the defense is going to translate day one, and it's just going to take some time for the offense to catch up.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. He's got nothing but time. Greg Popovich just signed a 5-year extension, which I said on this program multiple times. Probably multiple times in one live stream, but I've said it before. I've been on record that he's going to be there at least 5 more years to kind of, work with Wemby and develop him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's got all the time in the world to develop. He's a young kid, super raw, talented.
Yep.
He's just gotta get a feel for the NBA game, kind of build his NBA body, and just get comfortable.
Facts, dude. Facts. The other thing I wanted to bring up before we move on about the Summer League, like I said earlier, I love seeing the guys making jumps from year 1 to year 2, what they're doing in the offseason. There's 2 guys I especially want to shout out. One is Jabari Smith Jr. out of the Rockets, dude. Mm-hmm. He looks good. He looks very good. His jumper's coming along. He's handling the ball better. That was one of his biggest knocks coming out of college, is just he couldn't get his own shot off. Now he is. Granted, Summer League, but you can see the improvement. And Keegan Murray.
He's been going off in the California Classic.
Average 36 in the Summer League.
Yeah, bro.
Insane. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to watch, and they're similar players, play the same position. I'm excited to see them make a jump.
Another guy I was also excited to see. He's been performing very relatively well. Jamie Jaquez Jr. of the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
he's been.
Try that again.
Underrated. What's that?
Try that again. Jaime Jaquez.
Try
that again.
I'm not in tune with the Hispanic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I respect it.
I'll try it again. Jaime Jaquez.
There you go.
Yeah, him, that guy. He could be one of those guys like off the bench, how you were running like the kind of rotation of Strus, Duncan Robinson, and Caleb Martin. He could take Strus's spot in that like 3-and-D role. But he can also get his own shot. I mean, Strus can too. I mean, all of these NBA guys can get their own shot when they want to, but he adds a dynamic that I think suits their bench fairly well.
Yeah, and there's definitely a reason they took him, being the oldest player in the draft. Like a lot of these guys that are drafted older later in the first, a lot of the time, some of them pop year 1 just because they've been playing grown men basketball and they're in their NBA bodies before they get to the NBA.
Yeah.
And Jaime Jaquez is one of them. And then 2 other rookies that are actually playing really good. Cavante George has been incredible the last 2 games. He went for 24, and then he went for 31, which is great. And Jarris Walker's been one of the most underrated guys. He's averaging a double-double right now with like 5 blocks a game.
Yeah.
He's like this year's Walker Kessler, in my opinion, to name drop Walker Kessler twice in the same program. But there's some dudes that might make some waves coming into this season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of summer league. You got these guys, they have the stage to kind of turn heads, and they end up getting opportunities with teams, whether it's 10-day, 2-way.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a springboard, like you said, for some of these guys to change their lives and their careers.
For sure.
And yeah, it's always good. It's always good to have, summer league.
It is. And just to talk about Scoot real quick, he's Russell Westbrook 2.0, but is a worse shooter and is not as good of a passer.
Facts.
So, but he's raw, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, dude. Let's talk about this in-season tournament. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this wacky shit right here.
Yeah. So I went through and I read this article. I'll pull it up on my screen just because I think it's interesting how they're doing this. Mm-hmm. So basically, how it goes. Okay. Every team is part of the in-season tournament. It lasts almost a month.
Yeah.
In the season. Okay. You start out in group play, where there are 6 groups of 5 teams, and each team in the group, they play each other 2 games at home, 2 games on the road. Okay. So I believe if we scroll down a little bit here, here's the groups for this coming season. Okay.
Interesting.
Yep. The West draws between 15 teams and the East draws between 15 teams, and they stay on their conference, but the divisions essentially switch.
Right.
So this is what you're looking at for the group play. All these teams if we look at West A, we have the Grizzlies, Suns, Lakers, Jazz, and Portland. In group play, they're all going to play each other once, 2 games at home, 2 games on the road. And whoever wins out of these 6 brackets plus 2 wild cards move on to knockout. Okay? That's when we start.
So the winners of each division, I guess,
yep.
Whoever has the best record amongst the division, and then 2 wild cards from everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is like the best record out of this group. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's only in the season. That's in the tournament. That's not for the whole season.
Right, yeah. Let's just say like the Lakers have the best record in West A.
If they go 4-0 against that group, they're most likely going to make the knockout round. Okay?
All right.
So, continuing on a little bit, we talked about group play. Knockout, it comes down to your final, what would it be? Your final 8 teams, and you get into bracket play.
Yeah, kind of like the playoffs.
Yeah, you get into bracket play, 1 game eliminations, all the way up to the championship.
Now, my question is, is this going to be like for the teams that don't make it? Are they still playing like regular games?
Yep, they're playing regular season games.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once if they don't make it into knockout, they resume schedule playing against like the rest of the group, basically.
Okay.
I don't know how exactly they're going to structure the whole NBA schedule. Because this throws a lot of shit into wacky spots.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. And every game counts towards the regular season except for the championship. So whichever 2 teams are in the championship, they're going to play an 83-game season.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
That's tough.
It is tough. But, yeah. And they're calling the championship trophies called the NBA Cup.
Bro.
It's pretty sad.
This shit just seems so gimmicky.
If they wanted to even make the trophy cool, they could have called it like, does Kareem have an award? He has the social justice award, but does he have like a?
I have no idea.
But because it's like a bracket play, they should base it off of one of the greatest college players ever and call it the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Cup.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they named all the other awards. But
Yeah.
That's basically in a nutshell how it goes. I'm very interested to see how it plays out. But yeah, if you look at the prizing, it says nothing about prize payout. There's an MVP of the competition. And then the cup. I don't see how this really matters. What they should have done is whoever wins this tournament, East or West, they get home field advantage or home court in the finals.
If they make it to the finals.
Well, no, like say it's fucking San Antonio versus the Hornets.
Right.
And San Antonio wins, and then it's Lakers Bucks in the finals. Lakers should get home court. You know why? Because that gives every team in the league a reason to compete in this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's a chance that they're going to make the finals, they want home court.
So, I guess what you're saying is the winner of like the winner of the in-season tournament, that conference will just have home field,
home court in the finals. That's how the MLB does it. Except
All
it's
right.
for the All-Star game. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think, and that would get everyone
wanting
to compete for it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if the Lakers say we're just going to rest Bron and Anthony Davis in the championship game because it doesn't matter, but if they're the number one seed actually in the season, they got a chance to make a run. They want that home court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it's also, and it's later. It's like early on in the season too. So like, there's still a lot to play for after that. It's not like they're doing this close to the end of the year when everyone's trying to rest. They're doing this early.
Yeah. It's before Christmas.
It's before Christmas. Yeah. So I'm actually pretty excited for it and to see how it goes out, how it plans out. Every single game is going to be nationally televised.
Hell yeah.
Every group play game, every knockout round, and everything else. So that'll be cool. Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, we get to see Portland and Charlotte on national television.
But I also think that's cool, dude. Like we're at least everyone gets
no, definitely
a nationally televised game.
Yeah, because I mean you got the lower bottom feeder teams that, you know, they're not showing them on national TV with the primetime lineup of guys and the crews and stuff. But they're gonna have their moment.
I mean, think about it. Shea wasn't on national television once last year.
That's crazy,
and he was a first team All NBA player.
That's insane.
You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna like. I doubt Detroit, because they didn't really draft anyone of significance. I doubt they were to get one. But now we're going to be able to see Cade Cunningham and Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren and all these guys play at least once. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool. Like, I mean, not everyone's going to tune in to watch the Bulls versus the Magic, but for all like your rock solid NBA fans that can't really afford League Pass, you get to see every team now once a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to mention, you know, the 30 games that the Lakers are going to get nationally televised and the Warriors and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a cool idea. My concerns are, like you said, with the schedule. It's gonna completely throw shit on its fucking head.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope this doesn't seem too gimmicky.
Yeah.
That like the NBA's trying not to like deviate away from like what has worked for like the entire.
Well, here's my thing. I think they're doing this because they know that no one gives a fuck about the regular season anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's all that it's about. That's why you need to put something in there that these players will go for.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be like it's just too gimmicky, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts. And if the prize money is only $500K for the team that wins, or even $1 million, bro, like that's nothing. These guys are getting paid $50 million a year.
Yeah.
And like even you can't even say, well, what about the guys on the low end of the roster? If it's $1 million for an entire team, I guarantee the team's taking half of it. You split $500K between the rest. They're getting what? $80,000, which is a quarter of their salary.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, a good pay bump, but it's not like it's, life-changing money.
Right.
So I think that they should put something in it that makes every team want to go for it. That's why I think they need to put like a $10 million one-on-one tournament for the All-Star game.
Yeah, that would be fire.
You know what I mean? That would be so sick. Imagine we get and you do a guard, wing, and big tournament. You know what I mean? Imagine Dame versus Steph, or Dame versus Kyrie, or Kyrie versus Steph in a one-on-one game.
Yeah. LeBron versus PG.
And KD and all those. Yeah, facts. And then we get to see Embiid, Jokic.
Yes.
Dude, that would be sick as fuck, right?
Facts.
You put big money up for that, bro, everyone will go for it.
Jordan Poole, Zion Williamson.
Dude, Jordan Poole in one-on-one, you put Addison Rae on that fucking sideline, and he's winning that money.
Facts.
He will turn into T-Mac.
Yeah. Although, hey, they say there's some baddies in DC.
There's some baddies in DC.
It's underrated, so
there's some
who knows? He might be going ham.
It's baddies everywhere.
Facts. They're worldwide. Worldwide baddies, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where we're just gonna have to wait and see how the execution is. Kind of reminds me of how, like we talked about it a little bit, how NASCAR planned the street course race, kind of just like not with really anything backing it other than like computer simulation, and you're going into something for the first time that's like it's a seismic shift into what the norm is. So you're gonna have question marks, you're gonna have doubters. So that's kind of how I feel about this in-season tournament. I mean, we'll have to see how it works out, what the ramifications are, what the benefits are, how players respond. But it's something that if it flops, then that's tough.
They don't even have to do it again, though.
Yeah, that's tough. You just go back to the way shit was before.
Yeah, because it didn't take the year that Kobe passed and they changed the All-Star game. That shit was fucking awesome to watch. You remember watching that All-Star game?
Yes, that was like the best. And I understand there's been some fire All-Star games throughout NBA history. That one has to be at least.
It's the best.
Top
it's the
3.
Best. It's the best
in NBA history.
It's the best. These guys, back in the day, people gave a fuck and they played hard, but there weren't people taking charges in the All-Star game like Kyle Lowry.
Big booty Kyle Lowry putting his ass on the court.
Facts. You weren't getting that.
Yeah.
Back then.
It reminds you of the 01 All-Star game.
Yep. And then it took 3 years and it's already gone to shit.
Yeah.
The NBA's loaded, bro. Put more money down on this stuff. Even if they say fuck the in-season tournament, if they did that conference gets the home court advantage in the All-Star game, that would matter. Same thing with the NFL.
The only problem with that is the current format of the All-Star draft. You're mix and matching conferences, so you can't really, unless you change it back to East-West, you're not really getting getting that work.
Yeah, I guess. But I just want to see a good I think it's fucking awesome to see players pick other guys.
Yeah.
When KD passed up on Harden and took Rudy Gobert.
Ha.
You know what I mean?
That shit was hilarious.
That shit
Unless
is so
you do
cool.
it if you pick the team captains, one from the East and one from the West, and then do it on that, then it could work. And then just go with the draft, to kind of just because why not? Because you're mixing matching East-West guys anyway. So.
Well, I don't know, because if LeBron in the West brought Jimmy Butler over and then they're playing for
home court,
that's tough.
Is
Jimmy gonna throw? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think they should, if they wanted, and honestly, the draft thing is cool, but like we laughed at that James Harden, Kevin Durant thing for 3 days, and it's been gone from our memories until just now.
Yeah.
You make a fire ass reason to play the All-Star game, and you got Steph Curry fucking working Dame, or you've got KD on the post against LeBron. You get shit like that, it's timeless.
Yeah. Like the 2020 All-Star game.
Yes.
It was absolutely timeless.
It was. Mm-hmm.
You saw literal stars playing star caliber basketball.
They were playing playoff
star
basketball.
On star, going ham.
Yep.
Like, it was the best thing to watch.
Coaches were subbing out players for advantage.
Yeah.
Like,
so hopefully this kind of brings a little bit of that back, but I don't know if it just seems too gimmicky.
I think it is, unless there's something that like people actually give a fuck about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, you know damn well the Lakers are going to rest AD and LeBron in one of these games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, it's all up in the air, and shit'll change, and you know what I mean? They haven't even announced what the prize money is going to be. If it's $500K, no one cares. But if it's $10 million, maybe they'll care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll see. But definitely, hey, it's something to hold us over for the long NBA season.
Yep.
That hopefully will turn out to be very interesting, and they continue to do this, kind of like the play-in, and that got quite a bit of flack when it first started, and now we all love the play-in.
Yeah.
But that's something that like you're playing for something. You got a 10 seed trying to make the playoffs. If they make an improbable run and get in, like. Yeah, that's huge.
And
that's something you're playing for. You're playing for postseason ball.
Facts. And I even think teams are starting to come around to it too. Because like, say Kevin Durant went through that hyperextension with the Warriors in a play-in era, right? Or like, what's the team that missed the playoffs? Okay, even better example. LeBron's first year with the Lakers.
Right.
He got injured for half the season. And he came back with like a month left and they just couldn't recover from it. Imagine he was able to pull them to the 10th seed, make it out of the play-in, and now they're fully loaded, ready to rock.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think even players and teams are starting to like the play-in, because it gives the guys a chance for teams to get injury-riddled and shit like that.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I'm super excited because it's just something new with the NBA. We don't really get a lot of that in a lot of major sports. Like, we don't get many changes.
Right.
Like, I think the team that innovates the most is the MLB.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the pitch clock last year and going to So
the MLB, NASCAR, both of those sports right now are very, very progressive in changing the game for better or for worse.
Yep.
Just experimenting with different things to, make the game better.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't get a lot of that. But this is definitely something that we'll have to keep our eyes on, and when this is all said and done in a couple months, we'll be back here to give you our thoughts on it, whether we liked it or not.
Yeah. And before we move on, question for you. What do you think the next big move is that the NBA makes?
The NBA base? Like change the game?
Change the game, change the league. Like, what's the next thing they do? I think it's 2 expansion teams.
I do too. I think it's moving like
Seattle and Vegas.
Getting a Vegas team and bringing Seattle back. Because Adam Silver has talked about it on multiple occasions, the possibility of expansion teams, and he hasn't like ruled it out.
No.
So I wouldn't be shocked if there's more expansion teams. But again, you look at Vegas and Seattle. That's 2 West teams. You're gonna have to realign.
I mean, maybe like if we look at it,
because you're not gonna have Vegas in the East. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, you might move like some of those like Midwest teams that are in the West that are also kind of like on the Eastern side, like Memphis and New Orleans could
Yeah,
arguably be Eastern Conference teams.
I think Memphis absolutely can be, and so can New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if
because
you're gonna go that route,
yeah,
adding 2 West teams, like you're
Mhm.
gonna have to reorganize.
yeah. I mean, if we just like glance at it, I mean, Indiana is farther west than Memphis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like they could make those moves.
Or Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
Any of those teams in the Midwest there,
Mm-hmm.
they can go either way, flip flop.
Yeah. Or maybe what would be an Eastern city to go to? Like, because there's other sports where there's some places that are weird. Like, for one, Salt Lake City for the Utah Jazz, that's a weird one. In the NFL, Kansas City is a little bit of a weird one. Like what's the Eastern city that would be like up next? Baltimore?
Um,
Unless they consider like the Washington Wizards, like Baltimore team.
maybe I don't really
Because
know.
There's Philly, there's a bunch of New York teams, there's Atlanta. I don't know.
Maybe another Florida team because you have the Miami Heat. Is that your Orlando Magic there? Maybe
Yeah,
like a Tampa team,
maybe Tampa or
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville or something like that. Yeah,
But Jacksonville isn't really a big basketball. That's Florida Gator country.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, maybe you can go with the like. Well, Charlotte is Carolinas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Virginia, maybe. But
What's it, Virginia? Like, are you going to call a team the Rally Riders?
maybe. Hey,
Maybe it's a
that's kind of
possibility.
heat.
It's cool.
Yeah,
It's
Delaware.
Cool. Oh yeah, everyone wants to play in Delaware.
Hey, it's right by the Jersey Shore in Ocean
That's where
City,
they.
Maryland.
That's where they got nude beaches.
Hey, yeah. Hey, we're not going to talk about that on this program. That's for after hours talk. But yeah, I'm sure they do.
They do. They do. Rehoboth Beach. Look it up.
All right.
Anyways, but yeah, I hope we get an expansion team soon. I think the next CBA is probably when we get that, because there was rumors that it was going to be in this one, but we'll see, bro. We'll see.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yep. Let's carry on.
All right. Switching gears to football. We're 2 weeks away from training camp. It's about to. We're right there, bro. Mm-hmm. Football season is on the cusp. I don't know about you. I'm excited. I'm amped for football season. This might be. This might be the most excited I've been probably in my entire fandom.
You're telling me. You're telling me. This is the first year I go into week one saying, all right, what's this team going to be?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Yeah, I'm hyped too. And we for obvious reasons. I mean, the Jets made big time moves this offseason, getting Aaron Rodgers, some of his guys in there. And the Eagles, keeping their core guys and kind of retooling, getting younger, facilitating the cap, and Howie Roseman just doing wizardry on the entire league, and just robbery and all the other bro, I don't have words for what he did this offseason.
Yep.
I'm excited. But hey, training camp is on the horizon. We're going to run through kind of our expectations for the rookies, some position battles to look at in training camp, and some of the storylines that you're interested in. So I'll let you start since you kind of dug in a little bit for the Jets.
I did.
What are your expectations for the newest HBO Hard Knocks candidate, New York Football Jets?
I have 3 things that I'm really interested to see. One is pretty obvious. Okay. Aaron Rodgers. I want to see how much he does. I want to see him out there with the full starting unit. I want to see him from day one to the end. We got him at all the involuntary stuff or the voluntary stuff. And now we have actual training camp. I'm super hyped to see what he does. Because he's got some work to do with our receivers. Still, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was all fun and dandy like a month or so ago when he was out there throwing with the boys. But training camps when it gets legit. That's when you're building your playbook and you're getting your roster set and you're doing all that and you're figuring out.
Installing your base formations and
your
all that
culture is getting set, all that stuff. So I'm very interested to see how much Aaron Rodgers shows up. I think he will for a lot of it because, I mean, he's had a lot of time off since between the time when he first got traded, like since post-draft. So, yeah, there's a lot to look forward there. One player that I'm super interested in, Israel Abanikanda out of Pittsburgh. He's a running back drafted in the 5th round. Okay. I'm super excited to see what he does, mainly because he ran for 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns last year in college. Now it's Pitt, but we've seen a lot of guys going to these, Division II schools,
right,
or lower end Division I schools, and they come in the league and they pop because they just weren't on camera. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I don't know about you, but I wasn't hanging out on Saturday watching Pitt.
No,
so I'm cool.
No.
But yeah, he ran for about 6 yards a carry. His 4.4. I mean, his 40 was about a 4.3. So it could be interesting. Nice little punch with Breece Hall, because I want to see if he passes up Zonovan Knight on the depth chart and makes the 3rd string spot for our running back room, because I think there's more upside there than with Zonovan Knight. I think Breece Hall and Michael Carter right now are safe at 1 and 2. Unless we bring in Dalvin Cook, which I doubt we will. I don't really want us to, but I think deep down I don't want them to because I think our running back room is so deep. But yeah, dude, I'm excited to see what he does in training camp because, I mean, he was a dog at Pitt and nobody knew.
Yeah.
So,
Hell yeah.
And then lastly, our tight end room is probably the deepest in the NFL, in my opinion. We've got Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzoma, Jeremy Rucker, who was the number 1 rated tight end in last year's draft. And then we drafted Zach Kuntz in the 2nd round this year. So we've got 4 tight ends that are probably going to be demanding minutes. I hope we go with the young route personally, because, I mean, I get it. A-Rod wants to play with the vets and he wants to, play with his guys. But I think it would be beneficial if we get these young tight ends moving. And I'm interested to see who wins there. I mean, CJ Uzoma's coming off an injury. Tyler Conklin was okay last year, but I'm not going to act like it was necessarily his fault that he wasn't that great, because look what he had throwing the ball at him. So, yeah, the tight end room is especially what I'm most excited for, I think, because there's so many different directions we can go. We've got vertical threats. We've got guys that can play between the numbers. We've got guys that can play outside the numbers, and we've got guys that can block. And I'm interested to see what we decide to do based off of how our O-line shapes up. I think that's going to have a huge impact on what we do in the tight end room.
Yeah. Yeah, hey.
I told you I locked in.
Yeah, you did lock in, bro. I like it. And, the Jets are definitely going to be one of those teams this year that maybe they're not a Super Bowl. They're knocking on the door of a Super Bowl run, but they're definitely going to be a playoff team. Maybe can make a deep run. We'll have to see. I mean, the AFC is very loaded, but I mean, I think they have the guys to do it. And depth is a very important thing in the NFL. So to have young, deep guys at key position groups, it's huge.
And I think especially this is going to be the most anticipated Hard Knocks in I don't know how long. Maybe since the Dallas one, because they had a really good team on it. But it's not like Dallas went out and made these crazy moves that offseason that really shifted the team and all the expectations. Everything stayed the same. We're going from, oh my God, these guys are actually kind of decent. You know what I mean? They're outperforming. Now it's real expectation time. It's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got the dudes to meet the expectations.
Facts.
But my expectations for the Jets basement make the playoffs. I think y'all make the playoffs. Um, Winning a playoff game, I think I would, if I was a Jets fan, I would be just absolutely ecstatic. And the ceiling, I think, is a Final Four appearance in the AFC Championship game.
Mhm.
But yeah, as far as the Eagles, I mean, I'm excited to see everybody back. I'm excited to see Jalen build on his success last year, and you know, respond to how the Super Bowl ended and how he's going to bounce back.
Yep.
But particularly, I'm interested to look at the linebacker group. I
Yeah.
mean, you got N'Kobe Dean, who sat entire year behind TJ Edwards and Kaiser White. Arguably could have played, but you have guys that were on prove-it deals that were balling out, so they had to get the playing time.
Yeah.
But
Facts.
you have a guy who has championship pedigree. He's a leader from Georgia. He commands the room. Um, and this is his first shot. Passed up on, third round pick. Should have been in the first or second round. This is his first opportunity to really just show the world why, he deserves this opportunity. I'm excited to see, his development and all of that stuff, but I'm excited to see who emerges beside him. A lot of Eagles fans, including myself, feel like, maybe they should go out and get a guy. They could, like a vet guy, or trade for like a Devin White or a Patrick Queen. But if they don't go that route, two guys that I'm really interested to see, one being Davion Taylor, who 2 years ago had shown flashes to be a massive contributor on the defense. Just his run-ins with health have just pretty much killed that. So he's pretty much in like a prove it scenario for his career.
Yeah.
And his lack of experience coming out of college and high school, that's been kind of a roadblock a little bit, but he's shown potential. It's just about putting it all together. So I mean, if he stays healthy, he's a guy that could possibly make some noise and contend for that second linebacker spot. But a guy I'm really excited to see is Christian Ellis. Now he's on the practice squad last year. We called him up to work the special teams unit, when we were just, special teams was ass, but like the coverage itself was just god awful. Before, I think it was a Titans game that we called him up, and this dude was just hitting everybody and setting the tone from like the first snap that he took on special teams. And you know a guy like him, who kind of on the similar path that TJ Edwards, is an undrafted guy, came from the practice squad. Um, you know, he could be a guy, if he puts the pieces together in training camp and wows guys. I mean, in OTAs, he was kind of getting some buzz a little bit. Um, if he's a guy that they feel comfortable giving some meaningful snaps to, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, personally, I haven't really seen a lot as far as like, his coverage and those kinds of abilities. But
Yep.
what I do know is he gets after the ball, he hits, he's very aggressive. And, when you have a defense like this, you got a bunch of guys who are fast and talented and just, they're ready to hit you. That's the dude that, he can make a big impact. And I mean, another thing I'm really excited to see is overall all of the rookies, how
Oh,
they
yeah.
how they're utilized, how they fit. I mean, obviously Jalen Carter is going to come in and he's going to be a massive contributor on that D line. Um, I'm very excited to see what they do with Nolan Smith. I think he's a guy. If you're not really comfortable running Christian Ellis back there all the time, Nolan Smith has shown that he can drop back in coverage. He's kind of like a Hassan Reddick-ish kind of guy. Hassan Reddick kind of dropped back a little bit in coverage last year, not too much, but he really excels rushing the passer. But Nolan Smith can drop back, and he can kind of do both on the edge, sitting back with Nakobe Dean. He's a guy that definitely he's a piece that you can move around and really disguise looks. And I'm really excited to see how Sean Desai uses him because I think Nolan Smith has a lot of utilization potential on this defense.
Yeah.
Whether you're on the line or back in coverage in the second level, and then the safety group. I think it's going to be Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship who are going to be getting the first team snaps. But I know the guys are high on Sidney Brown, so I wouldn't be shocked if they went the route that they did with Marcus Epps in 2021, where they ran a 3 safety rotation, kind of divvying up the snaps between Rodney McLeod and Anthony Harris and Marcus Epps, kind of getting him in there. Obviously, he wasn't starting, but he was playing like I want to say it was a quarter to 35% of the snaps.
Yeah.
And in his small sample size, he was doing very decent. And then, when we got rid of Anthony Harris, Marcus Epps bumped up and, he balled out last year, got a bag in Las Vegas. And now we got Reed Blankenship, who another undrafted free agent, made a big contribution in his small sample size. Terrell Edmonds on a prove-it deal. And, Sidney Brown is a guy who he's very aggressive. His pursuit to the ball, to the player is second to none, and has also shown in some of his like the Senior Bowl highlights and stuff. He can drop back in coverage and kind of do it all. Obviously, NFL game is going to be faster. He's going to have a learning curve, but I mean, he's shown potential and shown flashes. So yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, defensively, really, I think there's a lot of question marks, not bad question marks, but question marks that, I'm pretty excited to see how they shake out. Howie Roseman can still add another guy if he wants to. That's obviously not off the table. I mean, we saw at the end of training camp last year, he goes out and trades for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and we're like, oh, well, we're just going to run with either Anthony Harris or Jaquiski Tart. Nope, we traded for C.J., and, so that could happen again. As far as the offense, I mean, ain't really shit changed but the weather and the running back room.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see what Brian Johnson, what his spin on the offense is. I think it's going to be about the same. Maybe he might throw in a couple wrinkles. I mean, with DeAndre Swift, you can really utilize the check down game and the underneath stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he utilizes some hot routes, because when you look at the Eagles last year, we were dead last in like hot routes and like check down percentage.
Yep.
Because it just wasn't there. When shit would break down, Jalen Hurts is just making a guy miss and taking off.
Yeah.
He doesn't always have to do that. He's just so good at that. Didn't even need to have a hot route. But that's not sustainable. You're gonna run into moments where, coverages break down. The back end is locked up. You got a guy like DeAndre Swift who can make a guy miss and take it back to the house, who you can just, toss it off to. You do it. So I hope that's one thing I hope Brian Johnson utilizes a little more than Shane Steichen. Yeah, I'm just so excited to see this team, man. Coming off of a Super Bowl loss, obviously it's not ideal, but they're hungry. They got the guys. I think they're deep at the positions that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, wide receivers are a really interesting one.
Yeah, because outside of, yep.
Yeah, outside of
Mhm.
AJ and Smitty, I mean, you got Quez Watkins, Olamide Zacchaeus, and Greg Ward Jr. So it's kind of tough, but the Eagles have been one of the since 2021. They've been one of the healthiest teams in the league, and that's a testament to Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff, the training staff. The regiment that they put the players on. They really take into account like the body and recovery time, and
Yep.
they prioritize that, and it's shown that we had all 22 players in the Super Bowl last year that played week 1. Like that shit does not happen.
No, it doesn't. Mm-mm.
So, I mean, I'm not really too concerned about injuries all that much. Maybe that other people are, but
I would always be in the back of your
yeah,
mind.
to an extent, yes. But I mean, knowing the kind of routine that they go through weekly, it's not something like 5 or 6 years ago when we literally lost like half of our starting lineup and still made the Super Bowl and won. Like that's tough. That doesn't happen. Then the year after that, again, we lost a bunch of guys to injury, barely squeaked our way in the playoffs. Like I don't know. I'd rather everybody be healthy and perform, but I definitely think this team has the potential to run it back, and there's just some interesting things. I'm gonna deviate a little bit. I gotta share a couple things with you. It's a little Twitter beef between the Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm gonna show a couple snippet clips. This first one, if you haven't seen it already, Deebo Samuel went on a radio show, and the host asked him about the Eagles and everything that happened last year and how he expects to respond to the Week 13 matchup this year. Bro hung up on him, so we're just gonna play the clip right here real quick.
Deebo Samuel here with us. Well, something that is your call. I saw what you said about the Eagles back at the Super Bowl at Sirius, where if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt, you guys would have won that game by double digits. Why would that have been the case?
I don't know. That's old.
So do you not still believe that?
I mean, I do, but I mean, we're not. That shit is like we're not gonna keep talking about it. I mean, I said what I said.
Gotcha. So then what happens this year when you play Philly on December 3rd?
I don't know. Just wait till week 13, 12, whatever week it is. We'll show you.
Well, then you know how that's going to go down. You're going into Philadelphia. Those fans are going to be booing you loud. You have a message for Eagles fans?
Hey, guys.
Yeah?
All right, we're good to go.
What do you mean? We have Deebo on right now.
Yeah, I know, but we're going to head into camp right now.
Are you serious? Okay. Thank you. There you
Thanks,
go.
bye.
Deebo Samuel right there. Doesn't want to answer a few questions. Are you serious? We got hung up on because all we did was ask him about the quarterback situation and then Philadelphia? And we got hung up on by Deebo Samuel? That's a joke. An absolute joke.
Dude just continues to fry. He continues to fry Deebo about it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, dude, we had him on for 15 minutes and he was only on for 5 minutes. This is a joke.
That's wild.
I mean, I get it from Deebo's standpoint. Like, we're about to start a new season in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Can we stop talking about it? I get it.
Who cares?
I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't want to talk about it either. But at the same time, just give him a dry ass answer. Just be like, we'll see when we get there. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was hilarious that he went off a little bit, kind of roasted him. But the other one I wanted to show you is another San Francisco radio show talking some spicy nonsense, spicy garbage about the Eagles fans being like unbearably like scummy in like the worst fans in the NFL.
Well, you are, but
No, bro, no way.
Yes, you
no.
are. You have
it's
the
not
you
true.
guys are the worst fans.
No, we're not.
I'm not saying you're bad. I'm just saying you're the worst.
No, but they say like we're supposed to be like criminals or something. Like we're always like
that's
fighting people and shit. That's not true. All right, let's listen to this guy. Let's listen to this clown.
We got hung up on because all we did was ask him about the quarterback situation and then Philadelphia, and we got hung up on by Deebo Samuel. That's a joke. An absolute joke. That's absurd. We were told we had 15 minutes with him. He was on for 5-6 minutes, and he didn't want to answer anything. So I've done this long enough. That was just get the promotional plug out of the way.
This is still the
then
guy.
You don't want to answer any questions, and you hand the
people some how the sausage is made stuff behind the scenes. Like, you've got to be tactful in how you conduct these things. Number one, he was going for the I gotcha, because he was giving you the over the top Philadelphia. You know the fans are coming for you. Dog, he's wearing a helmet. He's on the field. What are they going to do? Throw things at him? See, this is the problem with Philadelphia. This goes back to my original problem. Oh, our fans, we're tougher than anyone. No, you're lower life scumbags more than anyone, and I'm sick of it. We've perpetuated this. It's okay to be a dirty, crappy fan in Philadelphia because that's what Philly fans do. That I'm so sick of it. If Niner fans did this, okay, you know what they would file it under? Thugs. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
You know why? Because our fan base looks a little different than the Philadelphia fan base.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've been to both
Soft.
stadiums. All right? I'm so sick of this. We do this thing with Philadelphia fans. You don't know what's coming for you. What? A bunch of low-life scumbags cussing and swearing and throwing things at people?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I have a problem. And I'll tell Zach to his face. Zach, people like you perpetuating this fandom that you think is acceptable, which is not. We all pay money for tickets. The experience should be fine. You should not have to worry about physical safety in an arena, in a stadium, because your fans are different. It's ridiculous. I'm so sick of it. And you know what? Good for Debo for hanging up on him. Screw Philadelphia.
So, Zach Gelb is Temple made.
Say that's enough of that. But Jesus,
Dude, cope a little harder, bro.
that's insane.
Cope a little harder. Bro, if you're gonna come in to Philly and just absolutely disrespect the city and the fans, the Rocky statue, number one, we all know what happens when fans come into Philly and touch the Rocky statue. They go get touched either 38-7 or we let them off easy, 31-7. In their case, we let them off easy. But you already know if you touch the Rocky statue, it's an automatic 38-7. And then, you know, the gang of like 60 49ers fans or whatever, they literally had the Facebook event. It was like, 195 interested. Wow, what a takeover, bro. They're like, oh, we're in Xfinity Live. Oh my goodness. Wow, bro. Cool. Like, you know, you do this stuff, you gotta deal with the consequences. Number one, you got touched. It's cool. The whole, like, they knocked Brock Purdy out, they knocked Josh Johnson out. Like, all right, maybe block them with somebody that's not a tight end number 2 on, you know, the guy who's leading the league in sacks. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah,
you know, it sounds like a you problem. Cope a little harder. I don't know, but you know, I mean, when you provoke a fan base that's gonna give it back to you, and then you're gonna cry about the repercussions of your actions. Oh my God, the consequences of my own actions. Oh my Lord, I didn't expect to get touched when I touched the Rocky statue and talked all this shit. You know, like, you got to think about this shit before you do it, because then you're just going to look like a clown like these guys. And then it just lives in their head rent free.
Yeah. Yeah, you ain't wrong.
All right, I'm done. That's all. I just want to get that off.
Yeah. Whopping 20 minutes. But I'm with it. I let you
Not
go
with
in.
that.
Do what you
Not
gotta
with
do. Do what you gotta do.
That was like 10.
Oh.
But yeah, hey, football season's right around the corner, and we are super excited.
Facts.
We play head to head.
I know. I'm gonna kick your teeth in.
Yeah, all right. Just
I'm going
don't
up there,
touch-
and I'm going up there, and I'm groping the Rocky staff. Fucking.
Just don't
going right up
don't put an Aaron Rodgers jersey on, and I'm
I'm
warning
going
you.
right up there, and I'm fucking.
You can listen. You can touch the jock strap of Rocky all you want, bro. Just don't put an Aaron Rodgers jersey on his chest, and we're good.
Well, listen. Last time someone put a jersey on the Rocky statue, that team won the Super Bowl. So let's.
Yeah, well, it's a debate.
When they lose, it means
Listen,
nothing.
listen,
but when the
listen,
Eagles win, it's oh my
listen.
god! Don't touch the Rocky
Listen,
statue.
allegedly, it was not a Chiefs fan who put that on the Rocky statue. Allegedly. So
Allegedly.
Meaning,
You guys are making up excuses to keep the myth alive. Anyways,
no. I said
anyways.
allegedly.
Anyways,
Anytime, no, but there was no Chiefs fans takeover of Philly. Like that's different. And allegedly, it was a Philly fan who put it on the Rocky statue just to be a troll. But anytime a fan base has come into Philly, let's just say the Minnesota Vikings in 2018, take over the city 38-7. The Giants touch the Rocky statue. Oh, take over the city down 95. 38-7. The Niners again, like I just said, they touched the Rocky statue. The takeover. We took over Xfinity Live. Cool. Nobody cares.
listen. I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on. Okay, I'm gonna drive my happy ass up there. I'm gonna put an Aaron Rodgers jersey on it. I'm gonna film it. I'm gonna grope him. I'm gonna go to the game.
Pause.
We're gonna win, and then I'm gonna hop on role play on GTA with Sauce, smoke a cigar, and talk about a game well won. That's how we're gonna do it. Okay?
I'm warning you right now, bro. If you put it on Aaron Rodgers,
Real G's move in silence. Okay.
if you put it on Aaron Rodgers, bro, the track record says 38-7. I'm just telling you.
It also says losing the Super
repeating
Bowl.
history.
It also says losing the Super Bowl.
Allegedly, it was a Philly fan.
No,
There
proof.
was no Chiefs fan
There's no
takeover.
proof. There's no
Allegedly.
proof. There's no proof.
Yeah, but there's proof of all the other fans taking over and then getting touched.
Let's move on.
I'm just saying.
Let's
I'm
move
warning
on.
you. We'll move
right.
on, but let me just make it known. I'm warning you, bro.
That's fine.
You
That's
don't want
fine.
that smoke. I'm warning you
That's
right now,
fine,
bro.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. Just as long as you know, bro. All
Facts. I know.
right.
All right. All right. Let's go down the rabbit hole, Alice. What do you say?
All right. Hey, if you're watching at home, get your tinfoil hats out. Get them out. Get them out. It's time for tinfoil takes.
Yep. I got a few things written down we're going to go over. Okay. And we'll probably go down the rabbit hole on a couple of them. But
Fair enough.
the first one, this one was all over the internet this past week because it's been talked about on multiple shows across multiple platforms. But I want your take on it. Can Andy Reid become the greatest coach of all time? And what would it take?
I think there is I think there's a possibility that he could. He's gonna have to win at least another Super Bowl.
One.
He's gonna have to win another Super Bowl.
Just one more, though.
I don't know how many more. Because he has what already 2?
Yeah.
It's it's hard because like you look at the talk, like Bill Belichick has what
6.
6? Yeah, not even. Wait, what is it? 8?
No, 6.
6? Are you sure?
Yeah, with the Pats. He won 6 with the Pats.
And 2 with the Giants.
That's right. 2 with the Giants. He's
Yeah.
got 8. But he wasn't a head coach.
He was a defensive coordinator. But again,
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Reid won a Super Bowl as a coordinator with the Packers.
That's true.
So again, I mean, I think both are kind of like on the same trajectory. Although I think when you look at like overall team wise, I think Andy Reid historically has had a little bit of a better track record as far as like overall team success.
Mm-hmm.
Other like outside of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, I'm talking about like pre 2000 or pre 2001, like when Tom Brady stepped in with his time with the Browns, and then being a coordinator with the Pats, and then his 2 hours of being a Jets head coach. And then when Brady went to Tampa Bay, like his teams were not they were good, but I mean the Browns team was probably the one that was the closest to being like a Super Bowl contender with him at the helm. Whereas Andy Reid, I mean, Donovan McNabb is a very, very good quarterback and very underrated. But you look at like the other guys around him, the offense before T.O., he was throwing to guys like Freddie Mitchell, Todd Pinkston, James Thrash. I mean, you had a great offensive line. The defense was fantastic. But like, sure, it didn't amount to Super Bowls, but you know, he had consistent success, and then up until the 4-12 season, goes to Kansas City, kind of the same thing, but then drafts Patrick. Then Patrick Mahomes gets drafted, and now they've won 2 Super Bowls. So I don't know. I feel like their careers have kind of mirrored each other a little bit more than we think. Just a little bit, but I think Andy Reid overall has had a little bit better team success. I mean, he's going into this golden age of having Patrick Mahomes, who could possibly be the GOAT, the new GOAT.
Yep.
So that might propel him into GOAT coach. I mean, he's up there with like Don Shula, Tom Landry, Bill Belichick, Vince Lombardi.
Yeah. And like my whole argument is like, I don't think Reid needs to do that much. I think you and I have completely different opinions about like Reid and Belichick's career. Like outside of having a legendary quarterback.
The ring. Like
I'm not looking at it as a coordinator, because we see time and time again they're completely different jobs. Josh McDaniels is an incredible offensive coordinator. The dude cannot coach a football team. So I'm taking that shit out. Head coach. Yeah. You know what I mean? You look at all these all-time coaches in any sport. At least once they had a guy. You look at the NBA. Pop had Tim Duncan. Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan.
Michael Jackson, bro. What?
Had Michael Jordan, and then had Kobe. You look at in the NFL. Don Shula had Dan Marino. Landry had Aikman. No,
he didn't.
It was
he had Staubach.
He had Staubach, but still. But for the time, Staubach.
Right.
I'm thinking Jimmy Johnson. But like all these all-time coaches had all-time quarterbacks. Think about the resume that Belichick has outside of Brady, which is absolutely nothing as a head coach.
Yeah.
Reid went to 5 championship games and a Super Bowl without Mahomes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the case for him overall, outside of like your all-time era of like quarterback play, Andy Reid's got him beat
by a lot.
Yeah.
Like even if you take out all of the Eagles shit, look what he did with mid-ass Alex Smith. 5 straight playoff appearances with Alex Smith.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be stuck in the Bill Belichick, has won
Yep.
6 Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Yep.
Nothing, no matter what you do, is going to move that.
It's always going to be the bullshit with
But-
the Michael Jordan, LeBron James thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And sort of like transitioning into this, we spoke about this off camera a little bit, but I'm curious if anything, like if you've really thought about it at all. But what would it take for Mahomes to be the GOAT, in your opinion?
Well, he's going to have to break all of Brady's passing records. He'll have to rewrite the history book, literally.
I think he
and
will.
probably win another 2 Super Bowls.
2 Super Bowls? Does you think that 4 compared to 7?
Well, whatever it is,
Yeah.
he's definitely going to have to at least have like comparable stats, if not better. I mean, he puts up ridiculous stats, and he's going to be playing for a really long time, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. But
No.
stranger things have happened, and I mean, it's really hard to one up 7 Super Bowls.
It is.
And,
It is.
like the resume that Tom Brady has amassed over his career.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think he definitely has. He's probably the best quarterback right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the quarterback that has the best shot to do it. But
Yeah.
is it likely? I don't know. Is it unlikely? I don't know either.
Yeah.
I think it can be doable, but again, I think it's a very uphill battle because, like, we literally just witnessed an entire our entire generation was Tom Brady. Like,
Our entire lives.
yes, literally, bro. And before him, it was Joe Montana. Shattered him out the water, and we're like, there's nobody that's going to be better than Tom Brady. So I think until we get to the end, towards the end of Mahomes' career, if he's in the same stratosphere as Tom Brady as far as career accolades and stats and numbers and all that fun stuff go, maybe, but we'll have to see.
Maybe. In my opinion, so I think it's inevitable that he becomes the GOAT. I really do. Because I was looking into this before we did the show. When I went down my Jets rabbit hole, I kind of like moved on to this a little bit. At this exact point in Mahomes' career and where Brady was, he's already 8,000 yards ahead of where Brady was. At this point, games played.
Right.
So it's not going to take as long for him to play to pass Brady. Even if he plays 15 years, he's going to come damn close.
Yeah.
So compared to Brady's, 22?
Yeah.
There's that. I also think we look at, like, Brady is the GOAT because of the Super Bowls and the clutch, right? I'm not even sure if Brady's a top 10 passer of all time. Maybe creeping into the top 10, but I mean, I'll name 5 guys who are a better passer than him. Aaron Rodgers is a better passer than Tom Brady.
Drew Brees
is a better passer. Peyton Manning's a better passer. Dan Marino was a better passer. Joe Montana was a better passer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, when we think about not even just the counting stats, because that's the flashy thing to look at. If we really look into it, Mahomes is the best thrower of the ball who's ever lived.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a discussion anymore. It was Rodgers for a little while there. It was Marino, then it was Rodgers. Now I think it's Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that needs to take it into consideration. Like, the guy I think he only needs 2 more Super Bowls to get there. Obviously, he's got to play a long time to get the yardage. But, I mean, if you went on paper and looked at Montana's career with 4 Super Bowls and Mahomes' eventual career with 4 Super Bowls, like, it's going to be drastically different. You know what I mean? It's going to be completely different. And I also think for the longest time, too, the Patriots overall have been a bad organization up until Belichick and Brady. Kansas City's always been in that upper class of organizations. You know what I mean? Of course, they've had their couple dips and things like that. I mean, even teams like the Packers, name a quarterback outside of Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. that like lasted with the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like teams have their lulls, but I think once Andy Reid retires, they'll find a way to get the right coach in there and keep going. I don't see a way that it really ever slows down for the Chiefs until Mahomes can't throw the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Because he's always going to have the intangibles. He's always going to have the ability to get out of the pocket because it's not like he uses athleticism to get out of the pocket. He's a lot like Rodgers in that sense, where he uses pocket presence and the vision downfield to be able to move and manipulate the pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers is still doing that to this day, and he's 39.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it's going to take that long, and I do think Mahomes will be the GOAT. I think it's inevitable. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, even with 5 Super Bowls, like, even if he doesn't get the counting stats, he gets 5 Super Bowls and 60,000 yards in 12 years. Like,
that's pretty good.
Plus, if you look at the per game numbers too, they're going to be so much higher than Brady's were.
Yeah.
Drew Brees came into the league 4 years after Brady did. And they were right up to the end of their careers. They were, you know what I mean? They were catfighting over who had the all-time passing record.
Right.
So like I don't think it's going to take that much for Mahomes to get there because he's the best of the eye test. He's going to have the best stats most likely if he plays long enough, and he's going to be top 3 in Super Bowls. He's going to be. He's already got 2, and the dude's 26, 27. So
yeah.
And guys quarterbacks don't even hit their prime until like 30. When you really look back at it.
Well, they're late 20s, early 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s, even into their mid 30s.
He's just getting right into it, really.
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
His mind's only going to get better. Maybe his arm talent doesn't, you know what I mean? But the mind. He's going to, in 5 years from now, he's going to be able to look back to a game last season and say, I remember this exact coverage. I know exactly what that corner's doing. I know exactly what that
He's already doing that now.
He is, but even
doing that now.
It's going to be even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Super Bowl. He's like, all right, cover 0. They're coming at us. Like, yeah, he knew what it was.
And Brady's been able to do that his entire career, but he wasn't executing game-winning drives in and out every week until the latter half of his career. You know what I mean? It's not like Brady was doing that early on. He was just young and had good teams and was able to outthrow everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if Mahomes keeps this trajectory, bro, I don't see how he doesn't. I really don't. There's always going to be those fuckers. Well, oh my God, Brady won 7. Well,
right.
Cool.
And I mean, just imagine too, like Mahomes doesn't have the greatest guys around. I mean, not that he doesn't have the guys around him, but he doesn't have like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith around him.
No. And you know what he does? He makes stars like Brady did.
Yeah.
Brady made Julian Edelman. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a guy. Maybe it's Sky Moore, right? Like, he's going to make his career. He helped boost Travis Kelce to become arguably the greatest tight end we've ever seen. You know what I mean? It's not, we weren't talking about Travis Kelce with Alex Smith like we are talking about him now. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, but I do think it's inevitable, truthfully. So, I do have another question for you. Anthony, you're frozen. Here I am, all alone. Don't you just love to see it? Oh, man. Welcome back.
Hey, my internet died.
I saw that.
I don't know what the hell that was. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I was entertaining the people. But anyways, moving on from that, I have 2 questions that sort of are related to each other. But I think we see this a lot every year, and I want to see if we get this right, because Last year, for this first question, it was the Seahawks, no doubt. Okay. What team this year doubles their wins from last year?
Doubles the wins from last year.
I know
Chicago-
your pick. Yep.
Chicago Bears.
That's a good choice. You think Justin Fields is good? Well, I mean, they'd only have to get to 6 wins to double it, but
I think they can win at least 6 games for
I don't.
sure.
I don't.
I mean, I haven't. I mean, we'll do this. We got something in the works in a while, as far as the schedule goes. I haven't really looked at the Bears' schedule, so I don't really know what who they really go up against. But we'll break it down at some point in the future. But I mean, you look at the offseason that they had. They got Justin Fields some guys. They traded for DJ Moore. They reinvented the running back room. Drafted him an offensive tackle in the first round. And they kind of pieced a little bit of the defense together. Obviously, it's not like fantastic, but they got some. They signed some guys. Their linebacker core is pretty stout.
Yep.
Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. I think the Bears can probably win like anywhere from 7 to 9 games if Justin Fields, if he takes a step this year. He doesn't have to take a Jalen Hurts type leap into his second year, but I think having a full off season of work, getting a guy like DJ Moore in the building, that's a bona fide number one. Maybe not the best number one in the league, but he's a number one on a lot of teams, especially the Bears. And you work some of those guys like Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, then you got Cole Kmet at tight end. It's a very underrated squad, and like I said, if he can continue to develop as a passer and use that superstar rushing ability, they could be quite possibly a sneaky wild card contender.
Yeah,
in the NFC,
it's possible, especially in the NFC. I don't know. I don't know if they will. I don't know. I have no faith.
They're gonna at least double their win total next year, though.
I have no faith in Justin Fields.
I know you don't. It's cool. I've seen this story before.
I read that book.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the Broncos. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go from 5 wins to maybe 10.
They could.
I do. They didn't really improve all that much, but I do think the coaching is going to matter so much.
I mean, Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton is like night and day, bro.
It is. It is. I think it's really going to matter. And I think the Raiders are going to be way worse. So I think someone in that division is going to come up in the win column. I think it's going to be the Broncos.
Yeah, I don't hate it. If I wasn't going to pick the Bears, that would have probably been my second pick.
Yeah.
Just because the Bears literally won they won 3 games last year?
3.
Yeah. And they improved this offseason.
They did.
There's no reason why they can't double up their win total.
Yeah, there is. Justin Fields can't throw a football.
Watch him come out the first couple weeks, start throwing the football. We'll see.
Right. Listen, I'm all for being proved wrong.
I know. We'll see.
But it's not very often that I am, so.
We'll see.
You know what I mean?
We'll have to put dinner on it.
We might have to. Yo, you owe me a lot of dinners. Anyways.
Hey, no. You owe me a lot of dinners.
What team do you think doubles their losses? I know what your team's going to be. That's why I didn't go with this team.
That's a tough question. Who doubles their loss total? I don't know, bro.
No? Well, here, let me give you mine while you think about it.
Yeah, give me yours.
I think it's going to be the Bills.
I was thinking the Bills, honestly, bro.
They would go from 14-3. They went 13-3, but I'm giving them 14 because of the DeMar Hamlin situation.
Right.
I think they go from 14-3 down to 11-6. I mean, they're still a good team, but the division's a lot better. I don't trust Josh Allen. I don't trust their savior, Latavius Murray. We keep seeing time and time again, a defensive coach does not get it done unless he's the best. And Sean McDermott is not that. Andy Reid rebuilt an offensive line in 1 year because he's an offensive guy and he knows what it takes. Sean McDermott is still struggling to put an offensive line around him since day one of Josh Allen's career. So
right.
that's who I think it's going to be. I mean, they'll still be good. They'll be 11-6. Obviously, it's a playoff team, but I don't see them winning as many games. I do think they fall off.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. To double their loss total, I don't think they like double it exactly, but I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to take a little bit of a step back this year. Finished 13-4 last year. I mean, they still have a very high power offense. Quarterback is a huge question. You don't know who the hell you're going to have. Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy off of a UCL joint surgery. We all know how it kind of takes guys a little bit to get back in their groove.
Yep.
So, he might not be like going ham like he was when he stepped in for Jimmy G last year.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be relying heavily on Christian McCaffrey. They lost some key guys at some key spots. O-line. They got some guys on the D-line, our own Hargrave, but they lost a couple key guys in the secondary, some underrated losses, second level, that nobody honestly is really talking about. Like losing Jimmy Ward is a big time loss. And then they lost another corner. I can't think of his name. I think they lost him to Detroit. But I mean, who do they really replace those guys with?
Yeah, you're right.
And we want to sit up here and talk. And I understand that I was kind of shitting on them earlier for the whole rent-free thing, but like for real though, like we're gonna sit up here and say like, oh yeah, they're totally running it back, losing more than they brought back or signed.
Yeah.
Particularly on the defensive side of the ball. They lost D'Amico Ryans, which is a huge loss. Really the guy that made that defense go. So I don't know. There's a lot of question marks on the defensive side of the ball, and you got some high-powered offenses in the NFC, like Philadelphia, Dallas. The Lions could possibly be a team that could they could have a whatchamacallit. They could have a high-powered offense. They could be a team that struggles this year and barely squeaks in a wild card.
Really?
I don't really think I 9-8 might be like pushing it, but I think maybe 10-7 or 11-6 pretty realistic. If they smooth things out, then they might lose another game or two than they did last year, but
yeah.
I mean, I really don't think that they're going to be the team that they were last year.
Yeah, you're probably right in that. I'm surprised you didn't choose the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh man, bro, that's another team.
That's the one that I thought you were going to take. I mean, because they only lost 4 games last year. They could go 9-8.
Yeah, bro. That's definitely that's another team that they did absolutely fucking nothing this offseason except for letting guys walk out the door. And yeah, they're going to be mid at best.
No, you're right. You're right. Good choice though. I don't hate the Niners pick. I mean,
I think 9-8 for the Niners is a stretch, but
yeah, that's a stretch.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to say like I don't think they're going 9-8 step back, but
yeah,
they might lose like another 2 or 3 games than they did last year. I mean, they still probably will be in the playoff conversation just because they still have a freaking high-powered offense. Christian McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, like all these guys are still there.
Yeah.
But there's two sides of the ball to play, and then when your most important position, quarterback, is a big question mark,
Mhm.
that's tough. Like at least the Vikings, like they know what they're getting with Kirk Cousins. Like Kirk Cousins is suiting up. They're gonna be mid. Cool.
Yep.
We don't know who the hell's suiting up for the Niners. It could be Trey Lance. It could be Brock Purdy. It could be Sam Darnold. It could be Josh Johnson. Fuck, it could be you or me. Who knows?
Yeah. Facts. I mean, I got to send my tape over yet, but
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I got to get my film out there.
I gotta send him my cadence.
Hmm.
My wait. Hey, I be drawing the false starts and the encroachments like crazy.
Yep. All right. One final question to round off the show. Okay. You had brought this up. I'm going to ask you, outside of the DeMar Hamlin situation, obviously, what's the single craziest play you watched live?
Single craziest play? That's
and
tough.
You know what? I'm going to challenge you too. Can't be Eagles.
Oh, dude. Because literally, like,
yep.
everything that I was gonna say has been Eagles, bro. Like,
yep.
Like the Immaculate Reception Part 2 was wild. In the divisional round 2017, that was like completely insane.
Yep.
Damn. The wildest play that's not Eagles related that I've seen. Give me a second to think about this.
All right. Well, I've got my two. I got one.
I got one.
You got one? Go ahead.
I got one. I think it was Super Bowl 49. The Seahawks driving late on what would have been that game-winning drive that Russell Wilson ultimately threw a pick at the 1-yard line when they should have thrown it or should have ran it to Marshawn Lynch. It might have been a play or two before that. Deep shot to
Doug Baldwin.
No. What's his name? Curse. I think.
Oh yeah, Javon Curse.
Curse. Yes, yeah. Yes. Deep ball jumbles it around in his hands, falls on the ground, and it ends up like on his back or whatever. He turns around, flips the ball up in the air, catches it on the ground, then gets up and runs like another like 3 or 4 yards. That was like so wacky. Like that shit was like the wackiest thing I've ever seen. The other one, now that I'm thinking about it, the Julian Edelman catch in Super Bowl 51 when they had the greatest comeback ever, being a literal like pizza box from the ground, like being on top of the dude, the ball like in his hands. Pause. Literally in his hands, comes out, ball in the air, and then just like claps it back together, pause, before it hits the ground. And it was like, bro, how?
Yeah, that shit was wild.
That was wild. Those two definitely, like off the top of my head. I can probably think of other ones, but those two like definitely stick out as in non-Eagles.
Yeah.
I want to give you some Eagles ones, bro.
No. We're not going down the
not...
Eagles rabbit hole because I want to go to bed soon. Listen, the two that I thought of immediately, I was watching the game where Eli Manning threw that deep ball to Odell and he fucking.
Oh, that one? I wasn't watching it live, but yeah.
I watched that shit. That shit was wild.
That's wild.
Yeah, I was watching that. And then my personal favorite, just because I thought it was fucking insane, it was, I believe, against the Cardinals, probably 2017. But Aaron Rodgers threw this like 75-yard Hail Mary. Do you remember?
I remember this.
Jeff Janis, of all people, number 83, the dude that wore the hoodie underneath the jersey.
Yeah.
Jeff Janis came down over like 5 guys and brought this ball in.
Yeah, I remember that.
To win the game. That shit was insane. He did that in like back-to-back weeks. But for
Yeah, he
some
did.
reason, the Jeff Janis one's the one I remember the most.
Yeah. For a while, we were just like, bro, Aaron Rodgers is just gonna convert every Hail Mary in history.
I know. Yeah, that shit was insane.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your wildest Jets one.
The wildest Jets one?
Before we get out of here. Wildest Jets moment you've seen live.
Okay, this was I want to say it was like 16 or maybe earlier, 15. I forget what year it was, but the year that Ryan Fitzpatrick almost took him to the playoffs. You remember the receiver Eric Decker?
Yeah.
It was like probably a 30-yard pass or whatever, left sideline from Fitzpatrick. It was against the Giants, and the corner came down, right? Had a perfect read on it, okay, to pick that shit off and house it. Eric Decker cut inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tipped the ball up in the air. And Brandon Marshall was coming over on a slant route and caught the ball and ran it for another 30.
That's funny.
I don't know why I remember that so vividly. Like, I could say things like the butt fumble, but like,
yeah,
I was watching.
That's kind of like
I remember seeing that.
Though.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. But yeah, that play that Eric, those two were so good. It was the first time any two Jets receivers both caught 1,200 yards in one season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna give you an Eagles moment just because I have to. This isn't the wildest one, but I just think this was funny. Now that you say that, in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 52, so they had crosser pattern. Zach Ertz was coming on one side, Nelson Aguilar was coming on another side. You can see them like high five each other as they're crossing. As Nick Foles is throwing it to Aguilar on the crosser, and then has like a gain of like 8 or 9 or something, gets like a first down, I think. I forget. But it's just funny, like, bro, you guys are in the Super Bowl, biggest game in the history of games, and we're just cool enough to just dap each other up on a crossing pattern and just go about our business. Like,
that's funny.
That was crazy, but yeah.
Jesus.
Definitely not the wackiest moment I've seen as an Eagles fan, but definitely like a funny moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I'd say that's a good place to end it, my friend.
I agree.
Yep, I agree. I'm tired. It's nappy. It's nappy time.
It's your bedtime.
Nappy time. Yeah, bro.
Nappy.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you all for tuning into the Day One podcast. Once again, we really appreciate y'all. Make sure you leave a like, you comment, you subscribe, you turn on the post notifications so you can always see when we're uploading content, whether it's a short, whether it's a video or a pod once a week.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Whether you're on a boat, you're on a bus, you're on a plane, you can get the Day One podcast content anywhere you are in the world. So,
yes, sir.
I'm Kyle. That's Anthony. We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Peace.